What's up, guys? I'm back on my channel again. Again, doing this just for my own entertainment. And I know we're already currently around mid-July right now, and basketball season is long over. But hey, I'm only doing this just because I wanted to. So I've kind of decided to start a new little series for myself, and I'd like to give my own personal thoughts on the last UH men's basketball season. And I'm actually going to start with the first game that they played. Well, actually, first off, I take that back. I'm probably going to start with their season, which was supposed to start against UC Davis this past year, but that ended up being canceled due to COVID-19 concerns. Actually, going back to the Diamond Head Classic, in which unfortunately University of Hawaii Rainbow Warriors were not able to log a victory for the first time ever in the history of the Classic, which was a big disappointment, let me tell you. And anyway, I've decided to just do this for my own entertainment. It's just to show that UH sports is my calling. So obviously, I've been a longtime follower of the basketball team. I followed them since 1996, 96, 97. So I'm definitely no stranger to that. And of course, I don't look it, but believe it or not, I am 34 years old. And you think that, hey, you don't look that old. Believe me, I don't look old, but I know my stuff. So I want to start out by saying that I want to congratulate the Rainbow Warriors on their very good season. And I like to also show you a little something. So sit tight here. I'd like to show you guys the print issue from last Christmas. I picked this is my story on the men's basketball team, and this is just what I thought would what how I thought the season would turn out. And as you can see, I thought that they would go 12-8 in the conference, and they ended up going 10-5 actually. However, here's the thing. The first three games here, Davis, Riverside, and Fullerton. See here? Davis, Riverside, and Fullerton, they were canceled due to COVID-19 issues in the UH roster. So we had to start on the road at Long Beach State. Let me tell you, that was a breath of fresh air. That first game was a total breath of fresh air because, for starters, UH got Bernardo da Silva back, their sophomore forward, who had missed the past 6 games due to a hand injury. Unfortunately, they didn't get Monte Chelina back because he was in COVID protocols. And unfortunately, their other three-point shooter, Amaro Lotto, had to miss that road trip due to COVID protocols as well. But as it turns out, UH didn't need him, and props to them because they were able to race out to an early lead, an early 6-2 lead, and they were able to maintain it just about the entire game. They did lose the lead, however. And I have to admit, though, in that first game, I also have my story shown here. So let me share my screen real quick. So first of all, this is my story. As you can see, that's where I started it out. They had not played since 2 days before Christmas due to COVID-19. But look at this. They still won 72-67. And that's against a team that I know has given UH a lot of trouble overall through the years. However, UH was able to get 2 wins over them last season, being shorthanded. And what really stands out at me about this game is the fact that they were still able to win this game just about start to finish. And as you can see right here, they were still shorthanded as Monte Chelina and Amor Lotto were no shows due to COVID protocols. And this is the recap of the first of their game. And fortunately, as you can see, they played really well. And what made a big difference was getting Bernardo da Silva back, because da Silva had missed just about all of last season due to an undisclosed injury. But what really stood out at me that really helped UH get this win, one of the things anyway, here, they built their lead to 19 points with a little over 9 minutes to go. And although Long Beach State did come back with an 11-3 run to end the second half, fortunately, it was not enough. And although UH kind of had some troubles controlling the ball, committing 5 turnovers in the final 3-11, they still held on. But what stood out at me was the fact that it looked like that they were going to have less than 10 turnovers, but they ended up with 10 in that second half. And had it not been for that final 3 minutes plus, UH should have been under 10 for turnovers. And that would have stood out at me as the reason why they won. One of the reasons anyway. And as you can see, they ended with a 527 scoring drought. And they were able to hold on, and the fact that they played without one of their players from their bench was really noteworthy, because Leto is a really good 3-point shooter, and we saw that a lot during non-conference play. But the main thing that I saw from the Long Beach State game is the fact that UH converted 15 3-pointers. And to convert that many triples over a team like Long Beach State, or any other team for that matter, is going to be very difficult to overcome. However, I should also note that during non-conference play, UH had to stave off 14 triples from Illinois Chicago. And me personally, I thought Illinois Chicago was their best non-conference game, next to the Northern Colorado game where they nearly rallied back from being down 26 to upset Northern Colorado. But this part here, 15 triples, that's the part that stands out at me as a stat that you really can't, that's just something you can't beat. You see what I mean? I mean, another thing, they start out with 13 turnovers. I think if it's under 10, you can certainly take that. The fact that it's 13, I think that could have been improved, but I think a lot of that had to do with the final 3 minutes of that game. So anyway, so that was their first road win, and it was a good win, because they definitely knew how to work hard and get the win for sure. And I also think, on a personal level, to win without the services of Amor Lotto was really good, although Amoro does come off the bench. But what really made a difference for my purview is getting Bernardo da Silva back, because if da Silva was out for much longer, we definitely would have had UH would definitely have had their hands full. Because we all know how good a team Long Beach State is. Even though we have won against them, they're still a good team overall. Because the way that some of their backcourt plays is really noteworthy. And of course, their front court too. and that Traore guy, even though and he definitely showed that in the home game, but I'll get to that in another video. But for now, I just decided to start out with my thoughts on the Long Beach State game, which was their conference opener after UC Davis got canceled, and so did Riverside on New Year's Day. So UH won 72-67 on the road against Long Beach State. And they converted 15 triples, which I thought was very noteworthy. It was a very good first game. I thought they came out really, really well. I thought they played extremely well, especially considering that they didn't let Long Beach State lead for more than 5 points. Lead by more than 5 points, I should say. So anyway, so the Bows ended up 1-0 again in non-conference in conference play, I should say. And just a quick refresh and just a quick correction here. Of course, I did say predicted they finished 12-8. You also have to not count the UC San Diego games because they're converting to Division One. So this past season, the games did not count, even though they got 2 wins over them. So that would put them at 10. So that would certainly put them at 10-8, actually. So believe it or not, I actually was not far off in my prediction because I predicted that they would finish third place in the conference, in the Big West Conference. And I'll go ahead and say it right now. My third place prediction was right. Overall record was not right. Of course, you can't really fault yourself for that, but that's hard to predict. So that would have put them so on this thing it would have been 12-8, would be 10-8 overall. However, I actually got pretty close when you think about it because they had 10 wins. They logged 10 wins in this. They logged 10 wins. They actually did a lot better than I predicted they would. And what I saw during non-conference play, they had what it took. Even though they lost two of their players in their backcourt in Juan Munoz and Samuta Avea. So anyway, UH wins on the road against Long Beach State, which I thought was a big win mentally, especially since Long Beach State is a good team. They're like UC Santa Barbara. They got a good front court, they got a good back court, and we do too. But of course, obviously, you got a lot of guys that can hustle, and the Big West is a guard-oriented squad. So that'll do for this first episode. I'm going to talk about their next game. And that's at home against UC Irvine in the next video. I'll see y'all soon. So long, everybody.